All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, I want to send all of you thank you for your tremendous support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do. They enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. But as we always say here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do this because we love it, as we are simply sharing our passions with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. You know as well as we do that we are your go-to on YouTube for Dallas Cowboys coverage throughout the football season and all coverage throughout the year. The 2023 Dallas Cowboys suffering their first loss of the season on the road against the Arizona Cardinals, 28-16. Let's jump right into our numbers here. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 25 of 40 attempts, 249 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 late interception. Tony Pollard, 23 carries, 122 yards. Rico Dowdle, 4 carries, 21 yards. Michael Gallup, we were asking, has there been a Michael Gallup sighting this season? 6 catches, 92 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 4 catches, 53 yards. And Rico Dowdle, 3 catches, 25 yards, and 1 touchdown. On the defensive side, Damone Clark, 9 total tackles, 7 solo. Jaron Kearse, 6 total tackles, 5 solo. DeMarcus Lawrence, 5 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss. Deron Bland, 5 total tackles, 4 solo. Malik Hooker, 5 total tackles, 3 solo. Micah Parsons, 5 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. Donovan Wilson, 4 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Leighton Vander Esch, 4 total tackles, 2 solo. Big Jonathan Hankins, 4 total tackles. Stephon Gilmore, 3 total tackles, 2 solo. Jordan Lewis, 3 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. CJ Goodwin, 2 total tackles, 2 solo. Osa Odigozua, 2 total tackles, 1 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Now, you know here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do not gloss over wins, nor do we overreact to losses, but we do have a lot to say about this game here. Now, of course, the big news during the week was loss of all-pro and star cornerback Trevon Diggs in practice to a torn ACL. Of course, Cowboys fans were instantly heartbroken over the news because Trevon, like the defense, was poised for great things this season, and that was going to be a huge blow to the team, for he does hold off that back end, and knowing how he handles his side of the field, which is why we had weaknesses on the other side of the field, which is why players like Stephon Gilmore was brought in. You saw the emergence of a Deron Bland last season, so you only hope that the secondary was going to be a continued strength, but we definitely wish Trevon Diggs a speedy recovery. Don't rush to come back. You have your whole career ahead of you. Take your time. Thank you for all your contributions to the Cowboys organization. Just focus on your health, and we hope to see you on the field sooner than later. Now, of course, we at Chin Check Sports Radio are Cowboys fans. We are Cowboys fanatics. Some might even argue with us, but we know our team. And it's something that you cannot argue with us about knowing our team. One of the questions going into this game, especially on the defensive side, and really going forward throughout the season, how will the Cowboys deal with the loss of Trevon Diggs? The Cowboys in the last 10 to 15 years, we have seen what happens when one player is missing either from one side of the ball. So Cowboys fans, let us refresh your memory. Remember when Sean Lee was manning the middle linebacker position for us? Was an all-pro player, or right at the cusp of being all-pro player, a Pro Bowl player, clearly the heart and soul and playmaker of the defense. It seemed that when Sean Lee was not in the lineup because he was too injury prone, the defense fell apart. I go back on the offensive side. Remember the time when Tyron Smith missed games in 2017? What happened in Atlanta? They ended up giving 6-7 sacks. So the Cowboys have shown when one star player is missing or one critical piece is missing, the team falls apart. And we don't want to overreact, but it's a question that is worth that is worth asking, and the Cowboys really did not answer this question this particular game, even with the pass rush of Micah Parsons and the ferocity of the pass rush, at least in the first two games, and we'll get to that in a second. But the Cowboys were thoroughly embarrassed this week, and they deserve everything that they have. Now, when you watch the Fox and other post-game shows saying that the Cowboys might have taken the Arizona Cardinals lightly because they blew a game against the New York Giants and the Cowboys crushed, 40-0. But this is the NFL. The rules change from week to week, and the Cowboys do not have the credibility. They have not earned anything to take any team lightly. So let me just put that in the atmosphere. Now, even though the Cowboys were without Trevon Diggs, even though the Cowboys were without 3 starting offensive linemen, we do not give any passes or any excuses. Number one, let's go to the offensive line. This was Tyler Smith's first game of the season. So, of course, it's going to be a little bit rusty, but we thought that he did pretty decent. A bad few holding calls here and there. Well, one holding call in particular, but we thought he did okay. Now, why in the world was Chuma Edoga, who started off the season as left guard, all of a sudden is moved out to tackle, and he played rather horribly, where Tyler Smith got valuable reps at left tackle as a rookie last season, and in fact played so well at left tackle, when Tyron Smith came back, he was kicked out to right guard because Terrence Steele was hurt. So Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, coaching staff, why the hell would you put your left guard and kick him out to left tackle when you had a guy playing his first game, had a lot of experience playing at left tackle, where you could have kept Edoga in at left guard? He was playing very well. Again, those are some of the things that Cowboys fans, we have to question and ask the coaching staff about that decision. Tyler Biadasz was hurt. We noticed at the end of the Jets game last week, Zach Martin was hurt, and both missed the game. Now, in terms of pass coverage, the replacements didn't do that well, but we thought in terms of running the football, they actually did a very admirable job, as evidenced by the over 120 yards that Tony Pollard gained on the ground. So if anything, the replacements did an admirable job in terms of setting up the run and really setting up their presence with double team blocks. So we're going to look at the positives there. But we stated this last week. We do not want the Dallas Cowboys defense to become too Micah Parsons reliant. Folks, this is why you listen to us, because we see things and we call it and we see it happening, almost in real speed. We just said the Cowboys need other players to step up. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, where the hell was Dorrance Armstrong? Where the hell was Sam Williams? Where the hell was Dante Fowler? Again, we do not want this team to become too Micah Parsons reliant, where even his stat line, by his previous play, he had a subpar game. But again, it shouldn't be Micah always having to step up. There are other players on this team who we should expect some level of productivity. So where were these players? The Dallas Cowboy defense. We sincerely hope that Trevon Diggs' loss, or the loss of Trevon Diggs in this game, is not a harbinger of things to come, because Stephon Diggs looked rather bad. Keep in mind, he gave up the lone touchdown pass last week against the New York Jets. We're getting an older Stephon Diggs, is not the same player who was winning Defensive Player of the Year. So he's a lot older now, and really, again, did not have a good game today. And in terms of the run defense, the team was getting run on. Folks, the Dallas Cowboys gave up 222 yards on the ground. If you want to take away 2 yards by maybe the third or fourth string running back, you're looking at 220 yards. If you want to take away 13 yards from another running back, the Cowboys still gave up over 200 yards rushing. And folks, that was supposed to be a strength of the defense. Now, again, a lot of them were big plays, but still, good defenses are supposed to stop the run and not give up those kind of plays. However you want to slice it, 200 yards is 200 yards. I believe they ran for over 120, over 130, 40 yards in the first half of the football game. That's a problem. So again, this Dallas Cowboys team, how in the world do you all have this attitude where you all can just roll into somewhere and just beat people based on reputation where you all have accomplished nothing? And I would even say the Dallas Cowboys as a whole have reverted back to form or previous versions of the Dallas Cowboys, namely not being able to stop the run, that we just broke the numbers down, and the disgusting penalties all game this evening. Folks, go back to the review that we did in the first time in the 2021 wildcard game against San Francisco. We stated they need to ease up on the penalties. What happened in that game? They had about 13, 14 penalties, a team record. The Dallas Cowboys had 11 penalties going into halftime. That was the most of any Mike McCarthy coach team, and I believe the most penalties by one team, and I believe they broke the numbers down, I believe in decades. So the Cowboys, I believe, ended up with about 12 or 13 penalties, and it was a particular penalty that we thought it was offsides. They called it false start on the Cardinals, but we thought that could have been another penalty. Had another crucial penalty on a punt return. That pretty much changed field position for 60-something yards. The Cowboys then drove the ball again, got another holding penalty. Again, that hurt the Cowboys. We talked about this last week. They had issues in the red zone against the New York Jets. Now, people excuse that by saying, hey, the Jets, actually, if you take away, and obviously since Aaron Rodgers is not playing, they still have a bunch of studs in the defense, so people kind of excuse that. And they got field goals instead of touchdowns. This game, the red zone problems, it's still there. And again, one is an accident, two is a trend. Cowboys have issues in the red zone. Another thing that was concerning about this game, our receivers were not getting open. Now, I don't know if that was schemed, if that was, but receivers were not getting open, and a lot of catches was pretty much 50-50 balls. Guys were not streaking around the field wide open. And to me, I don't know, do we just not have the explosiveness? Does Dak not have the arm to get it to these playmakers? You had pretty much young players and rookies. And by the way, this is an Arizona Cardinals team who did not have their best player, Budda Baker, on defense, and was able to pretty much lock down and control the Cowboys receivers. That's a problem. Cowboys fans, let us stop with the Super Bowl talk. This is why you come to us. We are the voice of reason amongst Cowboys Nation. Cowboys fans, if we're being honest with ourselves, this team that we saw that put up 16 points, and yes, I know Dak threw an interception and people are really going to focus on that, but it was a horrible interception. I mean, throwing really to three people, so he kind of reverted to the Dak of old a little bit. But the offensive side of the football, they seem to be playing very conservative and efficient. They don't have the explosiveness, and that's a problem, especially through the aerial attack, because again, the Cardinals, we thought did an excellent job of really slowing down the receivers, so something's going to have to give here. We're going to hope our offensive line gets back. The Cowboys are going to have to clean some of the penalties up. Cowboys fans, let's be honest. Can this team really beat the San Francisco 49ers as presently constructed, especially based on what we saw this evening? Are they beating the Philadelphia Eagles? Let's be honest with ourselves right now. We're not going to overreact, but this kind of performance with the attitude, and that's another thing we wanted to bring up. We did not like, and did anybody else see the poor body language on the sidelines amongst Cowboy players? They seem to be arguing amongst themselves in the first half. Pam Oliver was breaking down how the team was frustrated and they were arguing and they were mad because they had miscommunication. Here's the question. Whose fault is that? And the miscommunication is your fault. Busted coverage out in the secondary, guys streaking wide open, guys not staying on lane. I mean, just getting ran by. So defense, yes, take a look in the mirror, blame yourselves. And the other thing, and we love Micah Parsons, but we do have to call him out just on this issue. There was a point where defensive backs coach, a former Green Bay Packer cornerback, Al Harris, was trying to gather the troops together and pretty much trying to, inspire the troops and give them a pep talk, to try to get their head back in the game. And Micah Parsons, one of the team leaders, was kind of seen to be standoffish, kind of standing off the side, seen to be a little bit distant. And I didn't agree with him needing a minute. No, you're the team leader. Rally the troops and make it happen. So just on that, we have to call Micah out on that. We also want to call out CeeDee Lamb. Some of his body language on the sideline was not indicative of a true leader of this particular team. So again, I don't know what their attitude and belief were going into this game, that they were going to just roll over Arizona, but they ate a huge helping of humble pie, and it was much needed, because nothing like humility, there's nothing that crystallizes itself in the form of humility than a good ass whipping. And unfortunately, that's what happened to the Cowboys. And they deserved it. They are not there yet. They have not earned the clout of, let's say, a Kansas City Chiefs to take anybody lightly. You saw what the Chiefs did on the road. At Arrowhead, dominated a completely overmatched team where it wasn't even close. The Cowboys are not there yet. Cowboys fans, temper, and we would even say knock off the Super Bowl talk. Let's take it week by week. They're playing the New England Patriots. Let's get through this game, because Bill Belichick has saw somewhat of the blueprint on how to dominate the Cowboys, and pretty much it's by running the football. If the Cardinals can do it, and the Patriots, that's their calling card, is to run the football. So there should be no arrogance. Yes, go take this flight back home. Go get ready for the Patriots. Stay focused on what they're doing. Again, we know we love doing this. If you have an email for us, it's going to be chinchecksportsradio@gmail.com. Once again, that's chinchecksportsradio@gmail.com. And until the next time, sign it out.